Hey everybody, we are back with the Packard Bell Legend. If you'll remember, this is the system we cleaned up last time and got looking like brand new again. It's been sitting for a few days, so it's a little dusty, but nothing near what it was. What I want to do with this machine here is try and cool these chips off. So this chipset, of course, predates a lot of the modern cooling techniques. But with the advent of Raspberry Pis and other small chip interfaces that we have now, you can get these little kits that are for cooling chipsets with smaller heat sinks. This is just a generic chipset. So let's see if we can find a couple pieces to fit. All of these chips really need cooling. If you'll remember, some of the thermals we got on this were just like crazy hot. So the main ones we want to cool are these Opti chips, the Intel 486 itself, the main display chip, and I think the rest of this is probably fine. There's a lot of little cache chips on here, but nothing else terribly critical that's going to need extreme cooling. But I know these chips in particular were running around almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's see what kind of size coolers we've got. Look at this kit and just take a look and see where we might be able to fit these pieces. All right, so here's the kit itself. This is one of these Raspberry Pi kits you can get on Amazon. Comes with a bunch of different sizes, and you can see we've got very small to, this is around like Pentium processor sized, maybe a little bit smaller, but I think it might fit okay on the 486. Give it just enough space there where it's not, too large, but also not too small where it's not cooling anything. Some of these smaller ones probably are going to be a little undersized, but I think the good news is we really don't need a lot of cooling. Like you can see, that's obviously not going to be enough, but we can probably use more than one. And really, honestly, these were made to run without a heatsink, so I don't anticipate there's going to be a huge problem with using multiple heat sinks and or kind of letting these be. But let's go ahead and get some baselines just on where things are at now, and then we'll go ahead and throw on some of these heat sinks and just see what kind of temperature readings we get with the heat sinks not on the board. Okay, so one thing we didn't get to test when we booted this up last time was the 5¼ inch floppy drive. But now, as you may have paid attention to my shorts, we do have some software to test out in this. So let's see if we can get Windows 3.1 here to partner up with Star Trek. All right, so we've got Star Trek Disk 1 loaded in the drive. Let's see if we can open its contents. Oop, and that is not what we wanted. Well, we know Microsoft DOS Editor works, but we want to open up our floppy drive, and now everybody watching is probably going to say, there's a way to do this that you're not thinking of, and you know what? The fair assessment is, I'm actually not sure how to get into the floppy, so I'm going to go ahead and figure this out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so after a very short self-guided tutorial, I was able to find that our 5¼ inch floppy disk is drive B, and we can go ahead and launch our install. And the good news is this read right away, so our 5¼ inch drive, which I was a little worried at its level of dirt that it wouldn't work. It seems to work just fine. So there we go. Okay. VGA, mouse and keyboard. We've got Sound Blaster. Now, of course, we'll have to hook up some speakers to the Sound Blaster to get the full effect. But the biggest thing we want to do here is just put a little bit of stress on the chipset so we can get some temperature readings. So let's go ahead and fire up our gauge. And I know everybody likes centigrade, but we're going to do this in Fahrenheit. Whew. There's a very warm processor there. Opti chips, also pretty warm, about 90 degrees. Display chipset, about 90 some odd degrees. Let's just take a look at the hard disk. Yeah, hard disk is pretty warm. Now the ambient heat in here right now is probably close to 80. But check this out. We're installing Star Trek from 5 1/4 inch floppy disk. Now this is 2024. I am not a time traveler. You are seeing this correctly. Everything on your screen right now is Windows 3.1 installing an MS-DOS game. So hopefully you're enjoying this. After we get this fully installed, we'll go ahead and throw on some of our chip cooling accessories. Got some of these little heat sinks. We're going to throw them on and try and cool this system down just a little bit. I'm not too worried. Again, these were designed to run without any kind of heat sink capability. But I want to try and extend the life of this because this one is going to stay in the collection. It's not going back to the recycler. It's actually the first really nice Windows 3.1 system I've ever unearthed, and very, very clean, has a Sound Blaster. This is going to be a great system for years to come.